All right, we're back. It's COMP308, and we are in the winter 2017 semester, and it's week 6, part 3 of our broadcast. Kind of started a little bit off sync with the local recording, but what we did was we're trying to fix up our nav bar so that way the nav bar itself reflects our login, log out, and the username. All right. So how do we do that? Well, we got to go into. Let's collapse some of these. Right. So if you look at some of these pages that we got up, I'm going to kind of collapse some of these too, right, for a second. We have our views, and inside of our views, we have our errors, right, our partials, and our authorization. So we're not going to touch authorization, but in our partials pages, we have our header. In the header, right now, we take a title. That's all we take, right? The title comes from our route. So if we go to my route, notice that inside the routing itself, right? If I go to my my regular page, my front page, right? Can I get you to shut that door? Sorry. Thank you. In our front page, notice that when we go here, I'm sending in the title. This is my title property that's being sent into my header, right? And actually all the pages have a title. And also my display name is being sent into the header, right? It's going there. So if I go to header, you can see that I'm using it here. But I could also use it in here. The title, I'm switching the title to add a class. If it's a list item is active, I can do the class, and I'm switching it by title. By the way, I could also do this with a little piece of JavaScript. It does the exact same thing, right? I don't have to do it this way, right? Like I can use JavaScript to basically, look at the document.title, and I can switch by title if I wanted, or some other means. Okay, this is not the only way to do this. But let's suppose that I'm logged in, and I want to show, first of all, my username. How do I do that? How do I check if my username exists, or my display name, right? Because that's what it is. My display name is what I'm passing in. So if I go to my routes, display name is what I'm passing in. So I want to go there and check that out. So let's do it down here at the end. So I'm going to say %, right? We'll say if, and we'll put in display name, right? Because display name is what we're looking for. If it exists, right? So we want to put in, and we want to put in a %, right? And we'll close it off. This is the thing there. If my display name exists, that's what this is. Because this is like saying if display name if I have some kind of feedback from display name, if it comes in, that means the user is registered or logged in, right? If my display name exists, then I want to kind of show on the title bar, I want to show a link, right? Right. So I want to kind of do a link that's the user link, right? I want to kind of put another list item inside the user link, right? So how do I do that? So I want to say something like this. I want to say, well, if it exists, I want to put in another list item, right? So let's do it like shorthand, right? There's my list item. And inside the list item, I want to put in some navbar text. So the class is equal to navbar dash text. Okay, that's the actual text inside the list item. And in my anchor tag, I want to put another I tag, right? The I tag itself is going to be for my little font awesome tag, which I'm going to have a class of fa-user. So it's a little user icon, right? And we're going to kind of put in something like, welcome, and then the display name, which I'm going to pump in there, right? Like, gotta be very careful how we do this. Display name. Right? That's where it's going to go, right? So my display name, this display name object is going to be injected into this list item. Okay. Let's do this first. See if it works. Where? Here? Here. Oh, that's a problem. Thank you. Good, thank you for catch. That was a good catch. Whew, that would have been bad. Okay. Okay, we would have been chasing that one. All right, so how does this look on the display now? So if I've saved it here, First of all, look at the server. Is it good? Yes. Refresh. Not connected. What does it do here? Uh-oh. What's all this? How come we've got all this problem, right? Sent, if display name, it says here, if I scroll down, it says include partials, la, 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 la. Okay, cool. Reference error, users, Thomas, desktop, blah, 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 view on page 1. Here's my include statement, partials header, main content container, and then it says users, Thomas, desktop, header. And then on line 49, it says display name, right? Display name is not defined. How come? What I was, right? I passed my title. Look, let's go back and show you. So if I go back to the stuff that I got in my my route, right? Here's my route. It's my display name. So what's going on? I'm passing a display name here. Look, it's either this, right, or this. Either way, I'm displaying something. If you want to check this out, you can always pass in nothing every time, like this, right? Let's see if I have a problem here, right? If this is the problem, this line of code here, because by the way, could be, right? Let's try this out and refresh, right? So refresh, right? And let's go back to here and we'll scroll all the way down. Does it still have a problem with this craziness? Yeah, it does, right? Display name is not defined.
You need to put the equal sign before the display name. Get the variable value.
But I'm already doing that, right? Like, I mean, I'm pointing this out because you might try this and then. Okay. Well, yes, you'd be right if we were doing it. Let's get rid of models. If you're doing it here, right? This is the problem that we have. So, you would be correct if I didn't have this, right? I'm doing an if statement, right? I can't put an equals in there because I'm doing an if statement. So I'm actually doing I'm checking for my display name, just like I'm doing a thing there. How come this is working, but this is not? Nothing's different. It's exactly the same. I'm sending it the same way, right? Come on, guys. I want you to use your brain a little bit. How come I would be doing this? How about if I change it to something else? So I'm going to my card, wildcard. I put a name instead of display name. Is that going to make a difference? Games, title, name. And instead of display name, in my header, I put in name. Is that going to be the same thing? Is that going to give me the same error? So restarted, right? And I go back to my page, my home page only, refresh. And I go back to my thing. Did it crash? Yes, it did. And when I go up and see why, it's looking for, oh, welcome display name. That's the problem. That's me. So this one, this part's not crashing. This part, look here. It says name is not defined, right here. But I define name.
Name
well, look.
Should be true, of course.
Oh, hold on a second. But I didn't do anything. I just check. Is name true? Is name ever true? Name is not true. Name is a string, right?
Right. So that's just return true.
If it's there.
Yeah.
But if not,
Then it's
null.
And then that's an
And if it's null, can EJS deal with null? And does that mean anything? Does that exist at all? Even if I pass in a string, an empty string. Let's pass in a string, like a real string. So regardless of what happens, it's going to pass in something, right? Let's pass in a hard-coded string, right? Because that means if we're correct, right? And if I go to my index.js, if I pass in something inside of here, so I'm going to pass in my, my name. So or unknown, we'll say unknown, right? Like this, so an actual value. Now that's an actual value now, right? Cool. Oh, one thing we do have to fix is in my header, because we're also checking to see what the display name is here. We'll make this name. That's we changed that. Just to see if that was the cause, right? Not this cause. I'm just putting it out because before we get into further stuff, it's going to prevent us, right? So refresh. Cool. Welcome unknown comes up, right? Let's go back to this though. And do I get an error? But What the hell's going on here? Try it, please. Come on, try it. Try it out.
So that if name you always consider true, then you will render the li tag, and then because you get the name value, so the name you always display there.
So let's go back. Maybe what we want to do, right, is this. So if my user is logged in, right, we can say logged in, right, by default, right? Logged in is if it's true, right? Right? It's true if what? Let me undo this. Actually, let me do this thing. Let's change for a second. Watch. So this, we have this thing here like this. This is correct, actually. This is not wrong. Rec user, right? If rec user is not null, right? This problem is null, right? So we can say something like this. Let's make another little thing. We'll say is logged in, right? Is logged in, or logged in user exists, or whatever, something like that. And is logged in will be the following. You'll say if rec.user, right? If that's true, then we'll send true, right? Otherwise, we'll send false, like an actual value, right? And if it's true, right, then display the name. We'll do this the same thing the way it is. This won't fail anymore. So we won't check for display name, right? Because we're going to check to see if this is okay. And we may not have to do this anymore. Rec.user display name, right? We'll see. How does this work? And I'm proposing something of a change to my header, right? So instead of this, it'll be display name. But no, we won't check that. We'll say is logged in, right? If is logged in is true, we'll say that. We can say even if you want to is equal to true, right? Then if is logged in, we want to set up the display name here. Welcome display name, right? Well, because we're never going to show the display name unless the user is logged in, right? This step is going to choose to see this, and this problem is, do I have someone who's logged in? Is there a user that's active? You could also call if active user, you know, something like that. And reset, go here, refresh. Okay, we're not logged in. Oh man, what the hell?
But you're still running.
Is logged in.
Name, right?
Huh?
If you go, you have to test if rec what that name is not equal to null.
But I can't test that.
Not in here, in your rec.
Okay, let's go back to the routes.
You're testing if it exists, and it's.
Well, I'm checking if the user exists,
null
right?
If it doesn't exist, right?
If it doesn't exist, then I should assign is logged in to
It's
false.
not false. It doesn't return false, it returns null.
But if it doesn't exist, right? If it doesn't exist, then is logged in should be either true or false. That's this line, right? Yeah, right? It's not working. Guys, this is a problem. People have this kind of logic where they, so what I just do it up here? We're here? Can't. You can do here. You can test here, right? If the home page, you can test the user up here. You can say if rec.user, right? You can test that up here. That you can test, right? If rec.user, if it exists, then, right, display name, do it up here. Display name, right, is equal to whatever it's going to be, right? Which is rec.user. Well, actually, we can do that whole part up here, rec.user.display name, right? That's what it's going to be. Otherwise, this is the long way of doing it. Else is exactly what we've done over here, right? Display name is equal to empty, an empty display name, right? Rec.user, right? So now we don't have to put that. We don't have to put this part. Yes. Well, up here, you mean?
Just above the use statement or below it.
Sure, we'll put it above. Console log user is equal to plus rec.user. Okay, so there's no user right now, right? So we'll see that should be null. We'll see, but this part here doesn't have to go like that anymore. You just have to say display name, right? But wait a minute. Display name, there is no display name. So we're going to say let name, right? Let name appear equal to some thing, right? And then we don't have to do this piece, right? If rec.user is equal to, if name is equal to this, right? Display name, and then we'll pass in name in here, right? Same thing. Make sense? Okay, let's try this out. So we change this. This should have changed this, right? No? No, we changed it to display name. Well, we have to change the EJS file because the EJS file itself. No, it searches for is logged in, right? So we don't have to do that. We just have to check for is display name now again. So display name, if it exists, right? If it exists, then we'll say the display name, right? All right, cool. Changes are good, and we're going to go back out here and refresh. Cool. Let's see what we got now. Oh man. Let's see what we got. Display name is not defined here, right? And where is that piece? Here. So if the user is not defined, right, the display name would never be, right? Right. Correct. That's the problem. That's the issue, right? So if I go back to here, that's a good way of checking, by the way. So if my rec user is equal to undefined, that's actually, you can check for undefined, right? If it's undefined, don't do this, right? If it's not undefined, right? So how do you check that? Not equal, right? So not equal to undefined. If rec user not equal to undefined, then display it. Otherwise, then it's going to be this let name, right? Okay, but then wait a minute. What's this mean? Right? Okay, go back. Just follow me for a second, okay? All right. So we've saved it and refresh. Cool. Let's go back to here and go. And we go up to here where it says user undefined. And if you want to check this, by the way, we can also check it here. We'll console log here, right? And we'll also console log in here, right? So we'll say name is equal to whatever it is. If the user if the user is not undefined, right? So user is equal to rec.user, right? So we'll see what the username is, right? So we're checking for a username that doesn't exist, and we're getting undefined, right? And that's the problem. And then when we come down here, this is undefined, right? It's like we're checking for something that doesn't exist, but yet we've done it a million times before. Hey, how about something else really dumb, right? Like stupidly dumb. Tell me what you want to do. But okay, and it works? Should. What do you mean? Type of my variable is not equal to my undefined. Okay, we can do that. So you're saying type of whatever the variable is not equal. That's what you want to check of. Check. Okay, sure. We'll try that. Aaron, I'm willing to entertain you, right? So this is what goes in here. So type of, excuse me, rec.user is not equal to undefined. Then do this, right? However, what if it's undefined? What should it do? What's the problem? What are we missing? Why is it doing this?
How do you tell
EJS.
If someone is already logged in to the system?
Well, look, I'm still getting an issue. User undefined. It's going to send undefined, right? Why is it doing that?
The main route get here. I think it should somewhere you tell there is a user exists already.
User undefined. One second. You're right, but I'm saying just like let's check this out because we're running out of time. And then there is no. And by the way, this is last year when we did the exact same code, worked perfectly. This year, no reason. So I pushed it up. So let's suppose I'm going to try this out here. Let me try something else. What if I take all this stuff out, this fun, fancy stuff we just did, right? And I'll take this rect display name stuff, and we'll use this same code that we have here. Okay, same code. What if? And for now we can ignore it, but I don't want to. What if instead of doing it like this, we took this out and put this down here? Okay, just follow me here. All right, so games, blah, and title, display name, and games. There it is, this part here. So I just changed the order. Look, Aaron, I just changed the order and get rid of all this. Okay, so I'm just doing this. Does this make any difference? Title, display name, games. Okay. And let's see what happens. So restart the server, right? And refresh the page. And we'll go back to the server and it breaks. So order has nothing to do with it. When we log in, so if I go to login, and I log in, right? My display name nicely displays. And, however, still get an error. Still getting this error here, right? But it's still working. And I'm going to have to tell you this, guys. I'm not sure if it's an EJS problem or what the problem is, but for now I'm going to move on. Okay? It's not breaking my server. It's giving me an error and it's displaying it on the page, right? But this all works. And this is the same way we're going to be able to tell, leave this alone. This is the same way that we're going to fix it later, how we can log in. So if I go to my header, if my display name is there, what I also want to do is I want to add in some other information for my other stuff, right? Like, for example, I don't want to just display my display name, right? I want to put my link tag in there for my logout. So I want to do something like this. I want to say li with an a inside, oops, with an a inside, right? An anchor tag. And my anchor tag is going to go to logout, right? So if I'm logged in, then I want to show the logout, right? And what's going to happen is before my anchor tag itself, right? Because my anchor tag is going to show logout, right? Here's logout. I want to put an anchor tag in there, or an I tag, which shows a class of fa-sign-out, which is going to show a little sign out icon. Yeah, I see it. If you can fix it, Aaron. I'm very surprised. Right? So if I'm logged in, it should show me my it should show me a little logout. Let me see. Whoop. Logout, right? There's my logout link, right? So if I log out, it actually does the logout. Okay, good. Same way, else, so this is this. So if it's this is true, then else, if I'm not logged in, right, then if I'm not logged in, I want to do another list item with an anchor tag inside, right? And the list item is going to be slightly different. Oops. Right? I'm going to the href is going to be log in, right? Because I'm going to log in with this link, right? So log in and log out is good. Where I'm going to have a my anchor tag that's going to show log in, I'm going to put in an I tag. Conundrum, Aaron?
No, it works.
Oh, you figured it out?
No, I didn't make any change.
Doesn't work for me. How come it works for you, right?
So I have to log in and then go to the home page or any page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it doesn't work for me. fa-sign-in, right? And fresh, log in, right? So I got my login page. I log in. Now I got my logout page. Shows me that I'm here. Log out. Doesn't show it. And I want to do the same thing with my games link. Now my games link will only show up when my display name is available, right? So I want to put it somewhere between this. So this thing here, I want to surround this with an if tag, right? So I can say something like this, just to make it simple. If display name, right? Oh, sorry. Open this up, close this up, move this in, And we'll just do one of these. Bear with me while I do this. By the way, you can do this kind of layering if you want. Make it simple for yourself, okay? You don't have to do this. You can combine these two together, by the way, right? So you can say if display name, then put this together. But I like separating it like this. So the only time it's going to show this link here, the games link, is if my display name is true. And refresh. Okay, no display name. There's no games. I log in. Game shows up. Right? I can go to different links nicely. Click on this. I see it. When I log out, games is gone. Right? Make sense? We've done everything except for put it up to the server. And I'm a little bit worried because we got a bit of an error, but Aaron says there's no error, right? So let's see. Maybe I did something different than Aaron. I know. Let me just try this out. So I'm gonna, maybe it's NodeMon, right? Who knows? I don't think so. Anyways, we're gonna say added or updated navbar, to show login and log out. Log out. Push. Good. And now I'm going to go to Azure really quickly. So portal.azure.com. And I'm going to create a who am I? This guy. And I'm going to create a come on. Yeah, okay, sign it. I know this is going to take forever. And by the way, while I'm doing this, I'll go to Heroku. That's going to take forever too. By the time I get this done, I'll be able to do both at the same time. So I'm going to make a new link. Go to Heroku. I'm going to add a new application. I bet you Heroku will be done faster. COMP308-2017 lesson 6A, right? Go there, I created it, and I'm going to go to GitHub, and I'm going to look at my Centennial and go to COMP308 W2017 lesson 6A. Do I find it? Yes, I do. Connect it. When I do enable it, that's very good. Auto deploy, let it go. Heroku's done. Let's see if that works. Meanwhile, slow Azure, still not moving and grooving.
You have to reset your environment variables.
What?
Environment variables for Mongo and Lab.
Yes. I have to set that up for Heroku, you mean? Yeah. So we'll do the same thing. So we'll say comp 308-W2017 lesson 6A. There we go. And we'll use an existing resource, which we'll use the, think we have to do that too, yeah. And we'll do Canada East. There it is. And we won't check on these things. Click this in and create. Now we'll go back this and to fix it. We need to make the environment variables. We're going to go to settings. We're going to reveal environment variables. And we're going to put in a variable called URI because we need to do that for a value. And the value for our URI is going to be that Mongo URI, yeah? Which I can't remember what the hell it is. But I do have it in my code here. So I think I've kept it under config. Maybe, hopefully. Here it is. And I'll take this whole piece here. Copy it, go back, paste it, add. Right? That's ready to go. And then we'll do back on the dashboard. Holy crap, Azure. Azure's really slow today. Deploy options. We're still not even done this. Mongo's already, sorry, Heroku's already done. All right, then GitHub. Oh my God. To the personal, we're going to go to Centennial. When we're going to choose the project. This one. Okay. Let it spin around. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, let's see if this actually works. So go to both deploy. And I'm going to go up to this link here. Open app. Here it is. Open app. And if everything goes well, we see it. And I go here. Don't see anything. Log in. We never registered online. So I'm going to go Thomas. And then If I try this, or whatever I want to try and click login, it's going to just keep me here, right? If I click register, however, it'll ask me for my email, and then my username, password, and the display name. Submit. Everything goes well. Redirect me. No, I don't want that. And then it says, here I am, log out, right? Log in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You should try it too, guys. Log in. Ready to go. On mine? Okay. Oh, don't be so smart. Delete. Yes, goodbye. Poor Azure is still chugging along. Let's see if it actually deployed anything. My deployment options, it said it did, but we need to change the application settings. And we're going to go down to where it says the connection strings. We're going to make a new one called URI, and we'll put this in there, and we'll save. Without this, it's not going to work. And now we're going to go back up here to test it. We're going to go overview, and we're almost like crazy late. We'll go to here and run it. And if everything goes well, then it should connect up here normally. Let's see if it does. Home, contact. It's really slow. Log in. Now we've already logged in, so we should be able to do here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and log in, even though we did it from the other side. It's the same database, right? Or logged in, never. Log out. Looks pretty good. And no errors, right? So if you don't see an error, that's why I'm saying maybe you just ignore it for now. We'll figure out what the problem is later. And then log in. You can see that that's probably good. Register. We can register. That takes us to a registration page. Cancel will take us back. Right? So I think we're good to go here. I think we've tested it on 2 fronts, on Heroku and on Azure. It works. I think this is a great start for your assignment number 2. It doesn't cover everything because it asks you to create your own contact list, which is similar to what we've done in this application. This whole application is a games list. You'd have to make a contact list, right, with some other information. So you'd have to putz around with the schema for the contact list, which is important to do. But otherwise, for the most part, I mean, this portal that we've created is the piece parts that you need to modify your portfolio site. Now, here's where it gets a little hairy for people who made a single page application. Someone turned in a single page application to me, right? How are you going to log in, log out with a single page application, right? That's a whole other kettle of fish, right? You have to figure that out. So good luck to those people, right? When I asked you guys to make separate pages, there was a reason for it, right? But otherwise, for the most part, you should be fine. Any questions around authentication? I know we covered it at a very high level today, and it's not anything grand. Remember, next week, all this stuff, I may ask you to do things like, you know, authenticate, get the stuff that I just gave you. You have all the code examples, right? But I want you to add it, put it together within a space of 4 hours. You have time, and do another app, something else that you're building with authentication built in, right? So remember that when we talk about this next week, one of the keys, and I got to talk about the keys to success for an exam, is always try and hit the stuff that's required. From an exam review perspective, my recommendation is I'm going to give you some kind of starting app. Okay, chances are there's no way I'm going to get you to start from scratch. That doesn't make any sense, right? Which means I'm going to take an app that I already have, one of these projects, skim it down to what it needs to be, right? Reduce it down to the bare minimum, and put in some areas that says enter code here. That's what I'm going to do. All right, I'm telling you in advance. So you've already seen this code. It's not like you haven't seen this code over and over again, right? Well, we're just going to take this apart and remove parts out of it, and you just have to put things into it to make things work. Okay, that's basically what you're going to have to do for your exam. It's not just a cut and paste procedure, because there's going to be some minor differences. You're going to be producing a different kind of app. You're not going to make a games list, right? It's going to be something else with some similar functionality, right? Any questions around that?
Do the test online.
Am I
Our test next week, we need to upload to.
Yes, all that's required. Roku, Azure, one of those two, doesn't matter which one. You'll have access to either one, whatever you want. If you don't have Azure, don't worry. Heroku is perfectly fine, but it must be live, right? Just like your assignment must be live. Okay.
So that as well.
MLab would be recommended. Yeah. Yeah. You need a database. So without MLab, you don't no database unless you use DocumentDB or something else from Microsoft, which I don't recommend. Right. Are we good? Guys, thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Remember, next week, please be early. We will have our exam during the space at this time. That is from the 8:30 in the morning until 12:30. Pretty much will run right through. I will give you the 4 hours. Most likely you will not need the 4 hours, but there'll be opportunities for you to add in bonus mark things that'll give you some bonus options, right?
Just to clarify, our
Yeah.
exam is pretty much going to be what assignment 2 is.
Your exam will pretty much be everything we've done so far, right?
And
So
does that include stuff even in the first 2 weeks?
yeah, so everything we've done so far with assignment 1, assignment 2, like doing npm installs, you should be comfortable doing that. You should be able to do GitHub and all that kind of stuff. Everything we've talked about up to date, you should be able to know how to do, right? And it'll test you on those things, right? So if I give you a package, you may still have to do some kind of npm installation. Those kind of things are basic things, right? You may have to rename it. You may have to modify your package.json, your README file. All that kind of stuff may have to be done, right? So please be aware that you have to be very comfortable with this stuff. All right, thank you so much. See you next week, and good luck.